And often when people think of homelessness, they think about the chronically homeless, because those are going to be the people you most often see on the street. But chronic homelessness is a small percentage of the overall population of our community members who are experiencing homelessness. So we have a large number of folks who are at risk of losing housing, or maybe they are experiencing short-term homelessness, and they may be couch surfing between family and friends due to, most often it's an economic situation. Affordable housing is very difficult. For the median apartment rate in this area, if you're working a minimum wage job, you would have to work 80 hours a week in order to afford that apartment. And you know the way the economic situation's been over the last few years, sometimes it's even difficult to work a full 40 hours, much less trying to get a second job, moonlight, second shift. So that has put a lot of our community members in a very precarious state over the last few years, and that's where sometimes you see the homeless numbers going up. So unless you have housing, you're not going to end homelessness. And I think that's where we've been really, the last few years has been really a great opportunity for Columbus, because there's a number of partners who have come to the table and stepped up. The Housing Authority, the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, Department of Community Affairs, the VA, have all committed housing vouchers for us to use. So now the next challenge is making sure we have enough housing stock to accommodate. So if we have almost 300 housing vouchers available, how do we make sure we have enough apartments and houses to be able to place people into housing using those vouchers? How secure are you if you're sleeping in a tent in the middle of the woods? I mean, you never know what could happen. You don't have kind of that safety or safeguard that you do being in a secure home for a number of reasons, whether that's, you know, crime, protection from elements, making sure that you have a safe place to be, to put your head at night so you don't have to worry about if you've got asthma, if you've got other chronic problems such as high blood pressure, diabetes. I mean, all of that plays into it, right? So if you're out on the street, you're vulnerable from a number of different aspects. I think one of the biggest stigma and misperception is people choose to be homeless. And especially for the chronically homeless, and if there's a mental health issue along with alcohol and or drugs, often they get labeled as that they choose that. But if you have a serious and persistent mental health illness and you're not seeking treatment on a regular basis, you're disconnected from services, so how can you make a rational decision? And if you're self-medicating through the use of alcohol and or drugs, then you're certainly not in a situation to make what we would consider a rational decision. And it's only after we can help those individuals by putting them in housing first with the wraparound services, and if that's mental health services and recovery services, do they able to become self-sustaining and maintain housing. It's not only the right thing to do to help lift up our fellow community members and help them become self-sufficient and a viable part of the community, but it's economic development. We can do the housing piece and do it well, and it's a cost benefit to the community. It's a huge cost savings, and I think people don't realize that. You know, typically, if someone has long-term homelessness and they're out on the street, it can cost the community in public service dollars upwards of $32,000 or higher. If we can do a housing choice voucher, which is that rental subsidy, along with support services, we can do that at about a rate of about $12,000 a year. So that's at least a $20,000 cost saving per individual. And you know, if you're looking at 150 folks that we're trying to house, or you know, even if that's less, that's a significant cost saving. So I think that's the other piece that people miss.
Will Columbus ever end homelessness?
Yes. Will we completely eradicate it? Different question. But will we have reach functional zero where we have more resources and housing available than the people who need it? Yes. We're on that path now. Zero 2016, our initial target goal for veterans housing placements for this year were 86. To date, it's over 50. We have 36 left to go. We've committed to 10 housing placements a month for our veterans. So that means by November we will reach our goal 1 month ahead of our target date, because by the end of this year. Chronic homeless, 89. We've committed to housing at least 4 chronically homeless a month. We're at 20 plus right now. So we still have a little bit of work to do, but if we continue to house at least 4 chronically homeless a month until the end of 2016, we'll have reached our goal.